If you clicked this video, two things may be true. One, you might be single. And two, you're trying to figure out how to be single and happy. Or neither of those things could be true, and you're just clicking the video and watching the video because you want to support, which, trust me, I'm not hating on. I'm not mad about. Okay, you could watch and you could support regardless if any of those things are true. I love it anyways. What's up, you guys? It's your girl Deja D, and welcome to season 4, episode 3 of my podcast. If you've never seen my face before, if this is the first video that you've ever clicked on, welcome to my podcast. I'm your girl Deja D, and I'm super excited for you to be here. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you join the fam. As I was preparing for this podcast episode, I was very nervous and I was very scared to talk about this topic, but I realized that with this podcast, it allows for me to have a space of like pouring out motivation and pouring out knowledge and tips to you all. Yet it's also a podcast that I want to feel like connected in a sense of community and share stories with. But then there's a part of me that's like, let's protect our privacy as well. So there's all these different aspects and factors that came into play when talking about this topic. But I want this to feel like a safe space for us to talk about things navigating life through adulthood. And I didn't want to be super superficial. So here we go. One of my favorite creators, she is a wonderful speaker. I'm not sure if she still does it because I haven't seen them most recently, but someone that I really was admired in this space of just being a Black woman with motivational speaking and, this type of content is Brittany Lee. I will have her page linked down below, specifically her video talking on this topic. And as I was preparing for this, it's good to do research, things that I'm learning in school. If you don't know, I'm a grad student, things that I'm learning in school, life experiences, talking to peers, whatever. But as I prepare for this, she made a really, really valid point in this video that I'm linking below of hers, as well as like several other videos of hers. And what she said was, you are not a half waiting for your other half to be whole. You are not a half waiting for your other half to be whole. You are already whole. When I think about this podcast and I think about navigating life in your 20s, and like I said, this podcast is catered to people navigating life in their 20s, but it's open to everybody. When I think about this podcast, this season of my life, this season of the podcast, I want it to be focused on empowering the self. The first episode of the season, I said, watch this when you're ready to change your life. We talked all about, having that discipline, knowing when it's time for you to like stop making excuses and step into your full potential. Last episode was called How to Be Hotter. We talked all about building your confidence, etc. I want this season to be about empowering yourself. This is not strict to, that just means you have to be in the same place in your life as I am, as far as living on your own, not having any children, being single. No, working on the self, no matter what system you are a part of, whether you're talking about your family relationships, your friendships, work, whatever, you are an individual person, and working on your individual self will affect all the other systems and all the other areas you show up in your life. So if you're doing the inner work and you want to change your life and you want to be hotter and you want to learn how to be single and happy, that's going to show in effect how you show up in your family. It's going to show how you affect in your friendships. It's going to show how you show up to work. It's going to show how you show up in every aspect of your life. So this video specifically is to touch on the topic of being okay with yourself as a single individual. Being single, not being in a romantic relationship. So, like I said, as I prepared this episode, a part of me realized that in order to talk about how to be single and happy, I have to kind of share a little bit more about my personal life, to the extent in which I'm comfortable with. So a part of me is like, high school relationships don't matter. Like, you're in high school. That's like a kid. Like, we don't count high school boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. But things that happen in your childhood obviously play a part in, you know, how you show up in the world, subconsciously at least, if you don't want to say consciously. So when I was in high school, I think I had a boyfriend in ninth grade that was like for a few months, and then I didn't have no boyfriends or nothing like that. And then I had another boyfriend in my senior year, and we broke up probably like 2 weeks into fall semester of college. Like we dated the entire time I was in my senior year, and then that summer, then we went off to school, and then we broke up. Look, it was before homecoming. Okay, homecoming, I was single, but that was just my life. So I did do a little bit of dating and stuff like that when I was like, in high school or whatever. And then when I was in college, I did not date like the entire time I was in college. I didn't date. I was probably, flirting with a few people. I'm pretty sure I had some crushes here and there, but I was not like in a relationship when I was in college. I just went to school. I hung out with my friends. I partied. I was just Deja. I was just a college student. I just was a full-time college student. I was a content creator, and I was focused on what Deja wanted, and that's just what it was. I did not have a desire to be in a relationship until closer to the end of my senior year in college, if I'm being honest. I found myself, and if you look back at season 1 of the podcast, I started it in that time frame of the end of my senior year. My mindset started to shift a little more of just like, okay, I'm not going to be a college student no more. My friends aren't going to be like 2 minutes away from me. We're not going to be like party girls, and we're going to be shifting into a different phase in our lives. And my mindset was just shifting a little bit, and I was kind of starting to prepare myself on what life looked like post grad and what I wanted post grad. And that was the first time in my life that I actually wanted to be in a relationship. So although I had like, 2 relationships when I was in high school, that was not Deja wants to be in a relationship. It was they like me. Okay, what's the harm? I start to like them. Now we're together and blah, blah, blah. But this time was the first time in my life that I was like, I want to be in a relationship. Like, I want that for myself. I want, someone to have this. I don't know. I had this desire to want a romantic relationship and companionship on an adult, mature level. And eventually I did get into that relationship. I've, ended up dating my now ex. We started dating like the end of my college years. By the time I graduated, we were like really serious. I moved in with her. And yeah, when I think about, little details in the relationship don't matter. But when I think about when I entered the relationship, I was 21. I was 21. As I get older, and I'm only 24 now. So some people watching this might be like, girl, you're so young. You're so young. Like, that's not a lot of time ago, whatever the case may be. Think about how much stuff can change in your life in a month. Think about how much stuff can change in your life in a year. Now think 3 years ago from now. That was 3 years ago. I was 21 years old. The Deja that it's 24 right now, I've only been 24 for a few months. I ain't even the same 24-year-old I was on my birthday, okay? I am continuing to grow and evolve every single day. So when I look back at Deja that was 21, I was young. I was still in college. I had never lived alone. Didn't have a job for real. I've never adjusted to being a student. I was a baby as a baby adult. Right now, I'm like in my terrible twos, maybe like getting out of my terrible twos as an adult. But I say this to say that my identity as a single woman in this world was non-existent. All I knew were these roles that I took on and the systems that I was a part of, as far as Deja being a big sister, Deja being the student with good grades, Deja being the content creator, Deja being my friend. And a big role that I took on at a baby age was Deja the partner, Deja the girlfriend. When you are in a relationship, especially when you're in a relationship living with someone, it has a way of consuming you. It overpowers you a bit, and it's not always a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's this consistent thing of always considering on how your actions will affect someone else. Did I spend enough time talking? Where should I put this? What do you want to eat? What do you want to do? Do you like this? What time? Where? Who? Everything that I'm doing, I'm considering someone else, which is a part of being in a relationship, which is a part of having a romantic partner. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just something that consumed me and something that I took on and subconsciously had a way of entering my life at the age of 21. I sit here and I talk about this from experience. And if you are had this experience, maybe you're watching this video and you're trying to figure out how to be single and happy because you possibly once were in a relationship and you're no longer in that relationship, or you may have never even experienced it, whatever. But if you have experienced having a role of being someone's partner in such a strong way, you know the emotions that having someone in your life has with you, and it's not always a negative thing. There's a beauty in being in a vulnerable, happy relationship. The support, the care, the gentleness, the partnership, the best friend. There is a beauty in loving a stranger, someone you never knew, that you begin to get to know, and they become so important to you. Losing that, when it comes to an end, when the curtains close, when the tears dry and the anger has to turn into acceptance of this new reality, and you have to have this reality of, okay, you're now Deja. You're not Deja the college student. You're not Deja the oldest daughter. You're not Deja the content creator. You're not Deja and so with your partner. You're just Deja. When you finally, or when that relationship comes to an end, when you're no longer someone's partner, when you're no longer attached to someone and attached to a relationship, you have to recognize that you are now your sole individual. When you spend whatever amount of time you've spent, I spent 2 years. When you spend so much time consumed in this role, and now you're no longer in this role, you no longer have this person, you're no longer the girlfriend, the partner, the whatever you want to call yourself. When you're no longer in this relationship and you now become single, you have to adjust to that. Let me tell you something. It takes a strong person to be single in a world where everyone is so okay to settle for anything just to say that they have something. Throughout the last few months in my life, I've dated some more than serious than others. But I've been single for a minute, and there's a roller coasters of emotions. And I think that I'm now confident enough to say that I am okay with being single. I'm okay with being single and I'm happy with it. So here are some tips that I have learned along the way, that I've learned through therapy, that I have learned through watching videos, that I have learned through others, and that I'm continuing to learn and do to be single and happy. Number one is accepting all emotions. After my breakup, I can admit that I was in shock. I believe I went on a date maybe like 3 weeks after the breakup. And it was because I don't think I could process not having someone in my life romantically. And I'm saying this because this is a safe space, but I was so programmed on having someone in my life that when I felt like I lost that person in my life, I wanted to fill the space. I vividly remember saying, I did not ask to be single. I did not expect to be single. I do not want to be single. I was in a relationship. I'm one of those people that when I love extremely hard. Like, I don't date to break up. So when the breakup initially happened, I was like in shock. I was like, I'm single. Like, I don't want to be single. Like, this is not what the hell I signed up for. I was not accepting. I was in shock. So yeah, I was suppressing my feelings. I was more focused on like the logistic of just like, okay, I don't want to be single. So I went on a date and I was really mourning. I was mourning what once was and no longer was anymore. I missed memories. I was sad. I was hurt. And I was trying not to feel those things. I remember going out because I broke up maybe around like, not maybe, I'm like trying not to say the timeline, but I broke up around the holiday time, like in November. It was like around October-ish, the first week of November-ish. And I remember going out with some friends. It was a party. Shout out to the girls. Y'all know I don't even need to say the names, but it was a party a day before Thanksgiving. And I remember going out and the reason I went out was because it was one of those like, I want to get out. I want to get out the house. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be so sad. And I remember going out and I was just like pissed. The last time I had went to a party at that venue, I was with my ex and a lot of stuff was clearly going on, whatever the case may be. And it just brought back memories and I'm walking there by myself and I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm single. The last time I was here, I was with whatever. And I'm seeing couples around me. And it's like, once you're going through a breakup, you kind of have this like hyper, like, it's like people are here by themselves. You see girls here with their friends, but you're like hyper focused on the couples for whatever reason. You're like, I can't believe it's all these couples here. I'm having all of these emotions going on. And I'm low key being like a Debbie Downer in the group because I'm trying to party when I'm really sad. And it was just overwhelming. Like, I think I left. Like, they were like, let's go party some more. And I was like, I literally fucking can't. Like, I literally can't, girls. Like, I'm so sorry. And I had to leave. I had to go home. I cried. I was just so sad. And I kind of want to hug her thinking about it, like, now. But yeah, I was sad and I was not trying to accept this sadness. I was not trying to accept this hurt. I was angry. I felt betrayed. I was scared. I was scared. I was like, I moved to this city with my with my ex. I moved to this new city because we started dating after college. After college, we moved in. We moved to Philadelphia together. And I was scared because I'm like, I moved to this new city. I don't have any family out here. I'm in a place where I'm making friends. I know some people, but they're not the friendships I was making were still so fresh and so new that they weren't like, as they are now. I was embarrassed. I was overwhelmed. I knew a lot was about to change. I knew that I needed to move because I didn't want to live there no more. If we're not going to be together, we're not roommates. I knew that would be my first time moving on my own. I knew I was going to have to put my big girl pants on. I had to start touring apartments. I had to get my deposits and stuff together. I also knew I was starting grad school very soon. And when you're going through a breakup, work doesn't stop. Your regular life routine doesn't stop. I still wanted to go to the gym. I still had work. I had Leo. I'm now looking for places to move. It was a lot of stuff going on. I was scared. Holidays came around. I spent some time with Leo. I spent Thanksgiving alone last year. I was with my dog. And I remember we were supposed to go to a jazz club. And then, that was my first time really going out by myself. I was like, obviously we were breaking up. We was broken up. So it was like, it would have been awkward for us to go to the jazz club together. And I went by myself. And I remember getting dressed up. I put my heels on. And I think about this as I was writing it. And I really, just got dressed up. I was like, I'm still going to go. The restaurant sat me right in the center of the room. So it's like the stage with the jazz performer, and then it's like this super intimate room. It's around the holiday time, so there's couples there, there's families there, there's people there in their groups. And I'm sitting there, and they sit me right in the center, and I'm by myself. And that was the first time that reality hit me that I was now single and this was my new life. Once I officially moved here, I had a lot of new emotions come in. I had a lot of excitement. I had this freedom. I had this liberation. It was a lot of change, yet it was still some fear. I started dating again, and I had all of this emotions towards that. I had trust things going on, and I don't think I was really properly picking the right fruits, if I'm being honest, or reading the room. I think I just wanted to have someone to fill this space because I was not comfortable with accepting all of the emotions that came with being alone. To be single and happy is to understand the reality is that you're not going to be happy 100% of the time, and understanding that that is okay. When I first became single, I was not happy. I was hiding. A lot of my mutuals and a lot of people, if you all are following my pages or seeing previous videos or just anything, you all know that I was in a relationship, if you are aware. And it just was one of those things that's like, I'm not one of those people that's going to be like single on the story with the explanation point or whatever. But it was just something I never talked about. I just stopped posting. You just kind of saw, if you saw maybe that I moved. I'm no longer in the same space. You just kind of got to put two and two together. I was not happy. I was hiding. I remember talking to some of my friends and my peers, and they were just like, we could kind of tell, like, you didn't say anything, but we could kind of tell because you were no longer posting this person. We could see that you moved. This person's no longer around, blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't want to share it because I didn't want drama. But you hear how I just shared my story, and I didn't put no drama. I didn't say why we broke up. I didn't sit here and do a whole this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm not hiding that I'm single. I'm not hiding the fact that I was sad. I'm not hiding the fact that I did anything. I'm a human and I have emotions. I watched the Tracy Ellis Ross solo travel series, and she is someone who can be considered single and happy. Yet she was vulnerable on her series of still wanting partnership, feeling lonely, and just overall having emotions. If you are single, it's okay to say that you feel lonely. It's okay to say that you feel sad. I'm hurt. It's okay to say that I miss being in a relationship. I miss being someone's girlfriend. I miss coming home to someone coming home to me, cuddling, talking, having that one-on-one time with someone. It's okay to say that you want to be in a relationship. It's okay to say that you want companionship. But it's also okay to pop your shit and say, I enjoy my alone time. I'm happy. I'm not with someone who disrespects me. I'm glad I could decorate how I want to. I'm glad I could do my house how I want to. I'm glad I could do what I want and sleep when I want and go back to only focusing on school and work and pour into my cup. To be single and happy is to accept all of your emotions, to acknowledge them, to know that some nights you might cry. And some nights you might come in tipsy from girls' night out. And some you might come out from a failed date. Sometimes you come in here, you went on a failed date that ain't work out. Sometimes you come back in here with a good one and you're optimistic. Sometimes you're tired and you just pass out. Or sometimes you're blasting music in here, listening to Beyonce, or cooking your favorite meals, or popping in some noodles. To be single and happy is to know that you are human. There's no hiding. There's no suppressing your feelings. To accept, a table for one, please. A table for one. No, there's only one reservation. I'm here by myself. That's to be single and happy. And it's to know that you can be happy sometimes with it. And sometimes you won't be. And that is okay. The next tip that I have to be single and happy is to recognize how much you have put being in a romantic relationship to the top of importance in your life. Let me tell you something. Being in a romantic relationship is beautiful, but God and gravity makes this world go round, not whether or not you have a boo. It goes back to this theory of that being a woman, you're less valuable if you're not a wife or a mother. Don't get me wrong. I love, I desire to be loved. I desire to have partnership. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mother one day. But what I'm saying is that is not the only thing in the world. What about your individual self? Who are you in this world, and what is this world to you without a romantic relationship? If your boo were to be stripped away from this planet, that could be whether you break up. That could be, maybe they are gone, they moved, they're gone, deceased, whatever. If this person, if your boo, if this romantic relationship were to be taken off of the face of the freaking earth, what is left? Some people will no longer have an identity. We see this all the time. A different example outside of romantic relationships could be when you think of mothers with their children. This woman had a life. She was a whole person. She might have had hobbies. She might have had a job. She might have had friends. She might have did this. And then she has a child. And this child becomes her whole entire world. They no longer have hobbies. They no longer have personal interests. They're now just a mother. This is their only thing in their world. Or what about the girl that's my man, my man, my man? What about your job? What about your friends? What about your family? What about you? You have to go touch some grass. You have to go touch some grass and remember that your life is not centered around relationships. Relationships should be a branch of your life, not a center of your being. Think of a little grid. Let me go get a piece of paper real quick. Okay, I went to go get a piece of paper. If you're listening in, you can't see it, but just hear me out. Think of like a grid. I don't want to say a Venn diagram because those are two circles. I'm just going to put a big circle in the middle, and I'm going to leave out religion because everybody's religious beliefs are different, and this is just not the place for that right now. This is not the point I'm trying to put across. So think about a grid. And you are in the circle. So, of course, if you want to do this and you want to put your religion or, whatever in there, do it as you will. But I'm not going to focus on that so much for the sake of the video. So, boom. You are in the center. This is you. I'm going to put this as Barbie because as I was writing this, I used Barbie as my example. So, boom. This is you. You're in the center. This is the grid. This is your life, right? You're in the center of your life because you are you. This is Barbie's dream house, not Barbie and Ken, okay? This is not Barbie. You don't see Barbie and Ken's dream house. You just see Barbie right here. Barbie's on the box, okay? Not whatever. You could put Deja here. You could put Stacy. You could put whatever your name is in the center. That's your world. That's your life. 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 Your relationship is not the center of your life. You are. Okay? But you have branches. So Barbie's in the center. Barbie has her job. Barbie has her hobbies. She plays tennis and she roller skates and she does whatever. Barbie also has her family. Barbie has her friends. Okay? You see how she has branches in her life? Barbie has her dreams. Barbie has her religion. But guess what? Barbie also has kin. So she has a relationship. So if you have a relationship, you have your kin. But kin's alongside all the other branches. Kin's not in the middle. The relationship is not in the middle. It's a part of your life, but it's not your only thing in your life. Now, some of these areas in your life may be more important than others. Your friendships might be more important than how you feel about your job. Your relationship, you might have a stronger relationship with your partner than you do your family, but it's not the only thing in your life. All of these things need to be watered in order for the system to grow, in order for the tree to grow, in order for you to grow. And if you make only watering your relationship the center of your life, you might lose your dreams. I'm now think of this like a tree. If all of these are the branches on your tree and you're only focused on your relationship, where's the water you're pouring into your job? Where's the water you're pouring into your friendships? Where's the water you're pouring into your dreams? They're not getting no attention. They're not getting no water. So they're going to break off. And then it's just this one branch. No, nobody want no stick. We want a full blown tree. Okay. What happens if Ken's branch breaks? What happens if this relationship doesn't work out? I'm pretty sure it's still a tree. If a tree loses a leaf, if a branch falls off of a tree, is the tree no longer a tree? It doesn't mean that the tree is dead. It's still a tree. If that relationship does not work out, if that branch breaks off of the tree, if a leaf falls off of the tree, it does not mean the whole tree is dead. The tree may look different. It might be hurt, but it's still there. Your life is still going to go on. You are still whole. You are still the tree. And when you water your other leaves and the stuff that you have going on in your life, you will continue to grow. And guess what? A new branch might just grow. And hopefully it comes back with some flowers and some fruits and some berries. But if not, you are still a big, strong, beautiful tree with so many other branches and so many other leaves that one leaf does not mean that your whole existence needs to be teared down. And that brings me to my final point. And before we end, I want to make sure that I say, make sure you all are subscribing. Make sure you all are following. Make sure you all are following the blog on TikTok and Instagram at Deja's Daily Dose. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up. But the last point to be single and happy is to stop being a victim. Being single is not a disease. It is not punishment. It is not karma. You make being single what it is. To repeat what I already said multiple times throughout this video, we're humans. We have complex emotions. We're complex beings. So it's okay if you sometimes are sad. It's okay if you sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, like I want this for myself. But you cannot be a victim. You have to stop being sorry for yourself. Even if you've never been in a relationship before, the whole woe is me energy, it's desperate. Stop it. I have to catch myself, sometimes being like, Deja, you're kind of being bonkers right now. Like, do you hear yourself? You're so obsessed with dating or being in a relationship where that's all you talk about. I used to be so like, I don't want to talk to these girls that are so boy crazy or so relationship crazy. And then you have to check yourself sometimes when you're doing it, when all you're worried about is going on dates and talking about dudes. Like, I don't want to hear that all day, respectfully. I don't want to hear that, and I don't want to do that. I'm not a victim, okay? I don't need to say, hi, my name is Deja, I'm single when I walk in the room. Nobody cares. Like, you're the only person that's making this so important in your life. So yeah, stop making relationships the center of your being. Stop making relationships the center of your being. Sometimes I catch myself, with a tear in my eye at night because I'm just like, sad or just releasing some energy. But I know that I come home to my beautiful safe space and I don't have to worry about anything but Deja's wants, needs, and desires. what I want to do, what I want to eat, what time I want to sleep, where do I want to go, what do I want to do. It's all about me. I am open enough to see what someone else is able to bring, or see what's out there. I'm not like this, oh, F everybody, I hate love, da 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 da. No, I'm open to seeing what's out there, but I have to also embrace where I'm at and love this version. I'm Deja. I'm loving on this version of Deja so hard that I know that when my branch grows back, because I know it will, I have faith that it will. I know that when my branch grows back and that those relationships come into my life, that I will be ready to hold all of the fruits and all of the berries and all of the flowers that is coming along on the tree, okay? Because I'm watering myself so much that I'm going to be strong enough to carry it, to hold everything that it's bringing to me. I don't want to go into nothing because I'm single and unhappy, that I'm coming in there and I'm bringing all this trauma and bringing all this baggage and, oh, you're going to hurt me like the next person or the last person did. I don't need that. When my tree branch grows back, because I know it will at some point, whenever it does, I know it's coming with flowers. I know it's coming with berries. I know it's coming with love. I know that it's coming with something that I really, really, really want. Because I'm pouring into myself so much that I'm going to be strong, healed, and ready for it. But guess what? Until that day comes, my tree is beautiful and it is strong regardless. That's how you be single and happy. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I'm going to have to edit it because I know I was saying some stuff that I might not really want to have up in here and whatever the case may be. But yeah, definitely, this is definitely something that I'm growing to accept. I feel like I'm in a place of genuine acceptance towards it. It took a minute. I've probably been out of that relationship for almost a year now. Almost, not quite yet, but almost a year now. And there's been these roller coasters of just like not really accepting the fact that this is my reality, not really accepting the fact that it's okay to not be with someone. This is me as a single individual living alone, not having, you go on dates or you date people, but it's like just being one, one. When I go to sleep at night, ain't no cuddling up. It's just like and being okay with it and being like, this is where I'm at in my life and I have to enjoy it and I have to embrace it, and learning how to be happy in this space and not feeling like you need outside people to bring that happiness to you. So for anyone out there that is going through the same thing, that's transitioning, that, really wants to figure out how to be single and happy, acceptance is number one. If you're fresh out of a breakup, you have to accept that this is your new reality. Go out by yourself. It takes some time. I'm still getting used to it, but I have gotten to the point where it's like, I wake up, I make my to-do list, and what do I want to do for today? I can't wait on other people. I can't wait to be asked to go on a date, to go and do things that I want to do. I don't have to be going on a date to get dressed up and go out to eat. I can go out to eat by myself. I could call one of my homegirls. I could just do what I want to do. You can't wait for other people to live your life. You just have to start living it. And be okay with that. Table for one. Can I sit at the bar? Can I do this? Carry a little knife, a little pepper spray, whatever you want to carry with you for safety purposes, but do and romanticize your life, and don't wait for a partner, a boo, to live your life. Count on the other people, count on the other branches. I love you all. I hope you all have a great week. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.